Hello guys, it's Wolfeos here, and I'm here with the new campaign trail game. And today we will be starting our international elections to branch off of our American ones. At some point, alternate history will come along as well. But yeah, I figured the 1963 South Korea election would be a good one to start. So yeah, this is one of the longer ones. So I am just gonna probably paraphrase some parts of it. But I haven't actually fully played through all this, so I am kind of going in blind. I know some of the startup set, like some of the startup for both, but yeah, I don't actually know the rest. So this will function like regular. There will be one part with the winner, who is Park Chung-hee, who was someone who seized power through a coup in 1961 and changed South Korea's uh like political system to from a parliamentary system to a presidential system. He's running for president, and his opponent is Yoon Po-sun, right there. Did I just try and say right who? Man. Um Yikes. Yeah, this only foreshadows good things for this set of videos. But he was the previous president of the cabinet that got couped. He didn't really have any real authority, apparently, but he is trying to prevent Park from obtaining the presidency. So, yeah, we're going to run with Park Chung-hee since he... Oh, and we're going to pause that so I don't get copyright claimed. So, Park Chung-hee, yeah. So, after Syngman Rhee's dictatorship collapsed, that was the person who was in charge of South Korea at the start of the Korean War. The Chang-myeon cabinet of the Democratic Party suffered internal conflicts, corruption, and extreme social turmoil. For the ambitious Major General Park Chung-hee, this situation was simply a golden opportunity. In May of 1961, he launched a military coup, overthrowing the Chang government and setting up the Supreme Council for National Reconstruction. To seize absolute power, he gained a lot of popularity and decided to finally run for president to be officially recognized. To be elected, I'll have to refute criticism of the coup with the claim that it was a great revolution instead of just a simple rebellion. And, yeah, the fact that the old president was actually democratically elected compared to us does make this a bit tough. So that's our party. Yeah, this party was made by our candidate and for our candidate, and yeah, basically it's just our party overall. So yeah. Now Korea does have a different system. They run off of popular vote, so there is no electoral college. And yeah, this seems to be a pretty close one since it says Park Chung-hee won 46.6%, while Yoon Po-sun won 55.1%. So it was a close election. Alright. And this is one where you can die very, very quick. But I'm still going to try and answer honestly, and if it gets us killed, we'll just restart. So it's May 15th, 1961. The time has finally come. It's time to start a coup that will change the history of this country forever. If you arrive at headquarters in Yongdwang-po at 10 p.m. and order the operation to begin, thousands of soldiers will quickly take control of Seoul, Daegu, Gwangju, Busan, and other major cities and topple the Chang-myeon government. Let's go now. So we can just go currently. We can not leave now because of the possibility of being followed, and we can contact headquarters and ask them to send some soldiers to escort me. We can wait to start the operation and try and gain a couple more officers and more troops, or we won't leave now and we should prepare. Should we? Yeah. And be prepared for the possibility of being followed by eating a meal at a bar and then departing. So, from the setup, I know that this queue is kind of precarious, so I don't think we want to postpone it, especially when we have enough troops to take control of the key cities. But I also, from what I know from my first couple of playthroughs, I don't want to launch it immediately because that doesn't end well. So, we could contact headquarters. However, I'm worried that since I believe they might have had some knowledge, because going there, I think you get encountered by troops almost immediately who were tasked with watching you, so I believe they're kind of expecting the coup anyway from me. So we probably don't want to contact headquarters because I feel like they'd probably be listening. So we're going to actually have a meal at a bar and then depart, which doesn't actually sound all that bad. So you peeked out the window pretending to be drinking. Several suspicious men watched the bar and soon whispered a few words and disappeared. Only then did you leave the bar, and just after midnight you arrived at the headquarters to join the officers waiting for you. So, it was past midnight and the day had changed to May 16th. You finally launched a coup leading troops into Seoul. But at 3 a.m. you were blocked by armed military police on the footbridge of the Han River, the only way to enter downtown Seoul from Yangdwang-po. Could you instruct me on the strategy to break through the situation? So, Admiral Yi Sun-sen, a war hero of the Joseon dynasty, once said, "If you try to survive, you will die, but if you try to die, you will survive. If we fight with all our might, there's nothing we can do. All units charge forward. There's no need to waste our soldiers' lives here meaninglessly. Our most elite troops, the airborne, can instill enormous fear in our foes. Airborne charge forward. There's no need to waste our soldiers' lives here meaninglessly. The Marines are the most effective units to carry out operations in this critical situation. Marines, charge forward. Or there's no need to waste our soldiers' lives here meaninglessly. I'll call Army Chief of Staff Chang Do-young and persuade him to retreat the military police and allow our coup. So, I've done this one. You hit a landmine and blow up. So we're not gonna charge forward. Even though I think that would be an okay strategy, just if I didn't charge with them and run over a landmine. But we're still not gonna do that because I don't feel like exploding. Now judging off, I'm gonna be basing this coup not off of this coup specifically because I don't actually know anything about what events transpired here. I don't really know South Korean politics all that well, but I know there was a coup in Nazi Germany. It failed, but it actually got pretty far, called Operation Valkyrie, where the military tried to not only blow up Hitler, but then immediately depose the Nazis. There's a cool movie about it. There's plenty of sources on it. But from what I believe, since it was a military coup, they actually convinced a lot of military personnel throughout Germany to originally fight with them. So I think we could maybe persuade Chang Do-young. So we're going to try and get him to allow the coup. So Chang did not strongly oppose your coup, but he responded very vaguely, not even allowing it. In the end, you put off persuading him for now, and you broke through the defense line by putting in the Marines and airborne troops at the same time. Okay, that works. Alright, at 4 a.m. your coup forces began to occupy major facilities in downtown Seoul, one after another. There are several arguments among officers over where to take priority. Some argue that Chang Myon should be captured by raiding the Prime Minister's office, while others insist that the station should be occupied and broadcast promoting the coup. Which do you prefer? So we can say that both seem wrong. We can which would send two separate forces to occupy the other two places. However, the main force will be sent to the central telephone office to block all telephone lines within Seoul. That one, it says the main threat is to prevent the worst situation in which Chang contacts the United States and asks for intervention. That's not something I'm actually concerned about because America's allies had a notorious habit of throwing coups. South Vietnam itself had a military coup during the Vietnam War while American troops were nearby. And I'm pretty sure America even backed that one, so I don't think America would care that we're doing this. However, occupying the telephone office to block all telephone lines inside Seoul would prevent Seoul, not Seoul. Um, if you're gonna tell, I don't speak Korean all that well, if at all. I hardly speak English all that well. But so that might be good if we want to prevent any orders from going out. So the telephone office does seem like a good strategic target. We can also try and arrest Chang. But not we can try and arrest Chang and put full priority on arresting him. So, yeah, we could leave the station to another unit and send the main force to arrest Chang. That's this option. Both sides have a point, so don't argue. Most of the main force will be sent to the office. I'll form a small detachment and go to the broadcasting station. I don't want to do that considering how easy it is to die in this coup. Chang is a coward who has never wielded a sword in his life. That's why he still hasn't issued an order to suppress our coup. He'll be hiding somewhere and trembling by now, so there's nothing to worry about. I'll leave the office to another unit, send the main force to the broadcasting station. And that, I'll be honest, popularity does not come first while trying this coup. So, I think the best thing might be to get the telephone office. So let's try and get that. You seem to have tried to make a reasonable choice in your own way, but when the line was cut off, communication between the coup forces was also disrupted. Shortly afterward, the artillery moved across the street, mistook you for counterinsurgency forces in the dark, and fired a cannon at you. Oops. Oh, well, okay. Breaking news. A sudden military coup was suppressed. Okay, guess we're trying that again. I think it would have been a reasonable decision. We just forgot to keep our own communication lines up. That was a poor case of friendly. Stop playing. Oh wait, I can just do that. Alright, let's try this again. So, pointlessly contact him, and then send a combined assault. Alright, so the telephone lines didn't work. I don't want to form a small detachment and go to the broadcasting station personally. That's dangerous. And the broadcasting station is not my top priority, so we're gonna try and arrest Chang. So here we go. He raided the Prime Minister's office in a hotel, but Chang had already evacuated. At least he succeeded in arresting Chang's aides that were still in the hotel. At 9 a.m., after failing to arrest Chang eventually, he set a new goal to be recognized by President Yun Po-sun for a coup. He went to Cheong Wade drawing room and met Yun in person. What would you say to convince him who was sitting nervously in front of you now? Mr. President, very sorry for the inconvenience. We have no self-interest, and we have started this revolution only out of patriotism for our country and our people. Revolutionary forces already occupy most of Seoul, so please allow the declaration of martial law. I'll be honest, I don't really think he would care about how good our cause is, so that one we're not going to do. I'll be honest, I would only like to evict Prime Minister Chang and his minions, who are the main culprits of all this unrest, and would ensure the safety and political activities of you and your aides. Chang is also your competitor, so after all, this revolution is good for both me and you, Mr. President. Mr. President, although I cannot persuade you, clearly, because I am not good at speaking, oddly relatable, I have a gun and I have soldiers. There's nothing to you, sir. Do you understand what I mean? That's a very effective threat. No, wait a minute. Come to think of it, isn't President Yan a corrupt politician who contributed to the chaos of our country like Prime Minister Chang? He is the object of liquidation, not persuasion. Soldiers, arrest Yan right now. Okay, now that... I've tried that path. A soldier shoots you because, he realizes you want to be a dictator and not actually someone fighting for the good of the cause. So, we're going to ignore that. That one does not work. We're not going to be talking about how, righteous our cause is. We're just going to try and get on his good side, where we say that we'll ensure the safety and political activities of you and your aides, and since Chang is your competitor, this revolution is good for you as well. Alright. You succeeded in stimulating the strange rivalry between Yun and Chang, and Yun smiled cheerfully and soon issued a statement in full support of your coup. Your coup, no, the revolution, will gain enormous legitimacy by this. Okay, that works. We still don't have a lot of popularity, though. At 4 p.m., you declared martial law across the country based on President Yun's support. You also set up an extrajudicial governing body called the Supreme Council for National Reconstruction, put Chang Do-young in the post of chairman in name only, and you yourself took over as vice chairman and took over all power. Upon hearing this news, Chang Myon resigned as prime minister, giving up everything. Your so-called May 16th military revolution is a complete success. Congratulations. Well, we've been really lucky. That's a relief, but this is the beginning of the revolution, not the end. As its name suggests, the Supreme Council for National Reconstruction has been given a great task of rebuilding our country, which the Chang Myon cabinet has ruined. I swear that I will do my best to complete that mission. The people will be really pleased with the success of my revolution. But there's one thing I'm a little concerned about. I'm a mere soldier, so I don't know much about administration. If I visit Changmyon and learn about the organizational structure and management of the government, it will be great help to future reforms. Or it was not me who succeeded in this revolution, but the soldiers and officers who believed in me and followed me. The revolution was the friends we made along the way, folks. In particular, I think my best aide, Kim Jong-pil, who recruited the officers and made a detailed plan, is very credited. I will visit Kim right now and express my gratitude. So that one is nice. It doesn't really give us anything, so I'm probably not gonna do it. We don't want to go talk to Changmyon. We just overthrew his government. The people hate him. So I think this will be the best one of saying we're going to try and rebuild the country. Many reform tasks will now await you. If you make a mistake, you may lose all the support of the people in a moment. So prepare well. Good luck, General Park. Well, that ain't good. Alright, the most urgent thing that everyone thinks you have to do is clean up corruption. Corrupt politicians and thugs, including Li Jiangjae and Lim Hua-su, used to wield all kinds of tyranny under the protection of the Xianmin Ri administration in the past, but Changmyon has shown a very passive attitude in punishing them. How do you deal with them? Our revolution will be a revolution of unity, not a revolution of blood. I will just confiscate their possessions and forgive them all so that they will live their lives atoning for their sins. This is the best option to promote the moderation of the revolution and my benevolence widely. One sec. Been talking a lot and my voice is sort of giving out. I don't really know how to describe it. Alright. Clean up the old evils for justice to be served. The Ri's administration corrupt officials must be eliminated. Put them all on military trial and sentence them to death. Also, before executing the death penalty, perform a public shaming to damage their honor. Clean up the old evils. For justice to be served in this country, the Ri administration's corrupt officials must be eliminated. Sentence them to death. This is justice. This is revolution. I can never forgive those who have committed evil acts by relying on Ri's power. However, we must always impose prudent and reasonable penalties according to legal procedures. I'll make sure they get the punishment they deserve, so please trust me in the council and wait. That one, no. We need to make immediate reforms to win the people's support, so we're not going to do that one. And I think these two are both too violent, and that one's just over the top. So, we're not going to sentence them to death. I think that's too far. So we're going to just confiscate their possessions. No one wants unity with criminals. By showing mercy to those who shouldn't be merciful, your reputation has fallen sharply, and more people have begun to believe that the events of May 16th were nothing but rebellions. Well, that ain't good. Ooh. Ooh, yeah, no, that hurt my popularity. Okay. Currently, South Korea is one of the world's poorest countries, and its national income is lower than that of North Korea due to the aftermath of the Korean War and Syngman Rhee's neglect of development. The Chang cabinet has not achieved much during its reign, so people are looking forward to your economic policies being announced. How do you plan to develop our country's economy? I will put the economy before anything else. By my policy, Korea will grow rapidly in all fields, and in about 20 years we will have the same economic level as advanced countries such as the United States. Our incredible success will be called the miracle of the Han River in the future. That is just all talk and no actual policy. After that, man, I was born a child of a poor peasant and spent my childhood in the countryside, realizing that agriculture is the basis of everything. I will achieve economic development through agricultural promotion by implementing policies such as agricultural subsidies and fertilizer supply. That one isn't great. I think South Korea nowadays is fairly urbanized and they've got a good economy. So we probably don't want to focus too much on something that won't achieve that. Why do you ask me that? I mean, I'm just a soldier who knows little about the principles of the economy, therefore I will appoint a large number of economists to the government and give them the great task of planning economic development instead of me. No, we're not just gonna, pass off our duties. That will hurt our popularity more. I looked through the archives of the Chang Myon cabinet and found something interesting. Turns out that before the revolution, Chang created the 5-year Economic Development Plan, a concrete initiative for phased industrialization. This plan is very well organized, so I think we just need to make a few changes and announce it. That, I think, is the best plan. That helps us urbanize. The cheers of the people are pouring out. Chang strongly protested this blatant plagiarism, but fortunately it is not known to people because the media is being censored. Ah, finally, a good use for censorship. At the Supreme Council for National Reconstruction, the establishment of the Korean Central Intelligence Agency, the KCIA, Korea's first private intelligence agency, was decided. It's a very important institution that can carry out opposition suppression and public opinion control based on broad powers. So who would you appoint as the head of this KCIA? Why do I feel like this is going to get me killed if I pick wrong? Do you know about Air Force Chief Staff Kim Shin? He is the son of Kim Gu, the national hero. With Kim Shin, no one can oppose the appointment, and he will increase the popularity of my revolution. Okay. I would like to have a person appointed to the position who can act as my wise advisor based on years of experience. I think former lawmaker Ri Hu-sang can play such a role best. No. A competent and reliable person who will never betray me should be appointed to such an important position. I think the person who best fits these conditions has already been decided. I will appoint Kim Jong-pil. Or, I would like to show that any politicians and bureaucrats from the Chang cabinet who are clean and capable can be appointed for this revolution. Chang Chun-ha is a figure who fits these conditions very precisely. We don't want to be associating with the Chang cabinet. And while he's popular, I don't necessarily trust him all that much, and I don't trust the lawmaker. So we're going to go with the person who planned out the revolution, Kim Jong-pil. It's a perfectly natural and safe choice to appoint the closest aide to a key position. Okay. In July 1961, you kicked out Chang Du-young, then took the chairmanship of the Supreme Council for National Reconstruction and are rapidly progressing reform by passing new laws every day. But there are still quite a few people who are opposed to you in the revolution and are negative about you ignoring the democratic processes and coming to power. What do you do to appease these opponents and increase support for the revolution? We could put on a fancy show. A young officer named Chun Du-hwan suggested to me a march in downtown Seoul of students from the Korea Military Academy. I will accept this proposal and use them as the perfect tool to propagate the revolution. And I don't think a student march is going to do anything in terms of legitimacy. They seem to have a complete false belief that I will undermine democracy. I promised already on May 16th that I would peacefully transfer power to a government formed through democratic elections in 1963. A speech reaffirming this commitment will solve everything. The question is wrong. To increase support for the revolution, we need to eliminate them, not appease them. I will order the KCIA to hunt down and arrest opponents of the revolution. The traitors of our people will all be put on revolutionary trial. That seems a bit corrupt, so we're not going to go with that, because we want to try and avoid corruption at all costs. There's a saying that even if a dog barks, the train goes. I will not waste valuable time responding to these minor problems. They will soon see my reform policy succeed and our country develop, so they will naturally support the revolution. I don't think that's how people tend to work, so we're going to give a speech saying that we will peacefully transfer power. Your speech, which calls for no further extension of the military government, was quite effective. Opponents were relieved, believing that in 2 years you would step down from power and return to the military. Oh, how little they know. Alright, how are we doing? We're slowly catching up. Not much, but slowly. It's already been more than 15 years since Korea was divided, and people's desire for unification has grown since the Korean War caused numerous deaths and separated families. What is the reunification policy you pursue? Recently, North Korea signed a mutual defense treaty with the Soviets, raising a security crisis. In this situation, it's too dangerous to push reunification. We will first strengthen the defense capabilities to prevent a second Korean War, and then start discussing unification. I oppose both Rhee's absurd unification by force and Zhang's peaceful unification, which is close to delusional. The method of unification should be called absorption unification, in which we absorb North Korea based on overwhelming national power. I can promise you that sooner or later our country will be strong enough. What does that even mean? That's somehow stupider than both of theirs. Okay. We must acknowledge that unification through force is no longer possible. I will pursue gradual peaceful unification with North Korea. In the process, we will, um, economic and military development and extensive anti-communist education. Okay. To be to put it bluntly, unification with North Korea is impossible. For unification to take place, Kim Il-sung must give up power on his own, which will only be possible in a work of fiction. I'd rather give up unification permanently and allow our country to develop its economy independently. So, I agree that we'd never achieve unification. However, I know that that's not what the people would want to hear, so we're just going to say we're going to strengthen defense capabilities and then start discussing it. This is a realistic and convincing approach, but it is far from the public's desire for quick unification. At least the intellectuals agree with you. Honestly, that might be the best we're going to get. After the success of your revolution, the United States reluctantly acknowledged your rule, but President John F. Kennedy considers you nothing more than a typical dictator and is extremely unwilling to meet you. Is there anything you would like to try to achieve a summit with him? Kennedy should put more importance on the cause of the alliance against communism than on his personal feelings for me. Show him our revolutionary platform of declaring that anti-communism will be a national policy, and remind him that there will be no shaking in the Korea-U.S. alliance. I'm too busy carrying out the revolutionary task to care about our relationship with the United States, but I have Kim Jong-pil, an excellent gamesman. I'll send him as a special envoy to the United States to negotiate the strengthening of the Korea-U.S. alliance. I don't have to give him anything. I'm the leader of Korea, a country on the front line against communism, and everything I do has tremendous global influence. If we wait a little longer, Kennedy will offer me a summit first. I have a very hard chance believing that. Cut it out. I'll never meet a leftist like Kennedy. Instead, I heard that Republican Senator Barry Goldwater is quite conservative. Inviting him to our country would be a good use of propaganda. No, it wouldn't. Barry Goldwater was not a president, and he wasn't all that popular in the United States. Or I don't think he was. He didn't get that many states in his election. So, meeting with him would do nothing. Honestly, Kim Jong-pil might be a bit better at this than us. Though, that might not be, devoted enough. Let's see if we can just convince him ourselves. Can he accept the meeting with you on the condition that you meet with Japanese Prime Minister Ikeda first? In November 1961, a picture of you and Kennedy meeting at the White House and shaking hands was widely reported in the national media. Okay, that'll increase our legitimacy. Glad we did that. And we're slowly raising in popularity. Very slowly. In March of 1962, the Supreme Council for National Reconstruction enacted the Political Activities Purification Act, banning thousands of old politicians from working and laying the legal basis for retroactively punishing politicians who committed counter-revolutionary acts. President Yun Po-sun resigned in protest, and you were appointed acting president. Isn't this law completely against your revolutionary ideology of democracy? I have no idea. Perhaps the council passed the law arbitrarily without consulting me. No, we can't just say that we have no idea about the stuff our government is doing. That is not going to inspire any level of confidence. Although some elements in the law conflict with democracy, it is essential for the success of our revolution. I can no longer tolerate the activities of reactionary political forces trying to bring this country back to the mire of chaos. It's not like that at all. The corrupt and incompetent politicians from the Chang cabinet are the ones who took the lead in hindering national unity and retreating democracy. And only when they disappear can we enjoy a more complete democracy. Unnecessarily expressing opinions on such a controversial law will only open a can of worms. Let's be silent. Sometimes silence is more effective than any word. Very rarely in politics is that true. We're not going to do that one. And we're not going to say we have no idea. We're not going to say it's necessary for the success. We're just going to try and pin it on the chain cabinet and act like they're the ones hindering democracy. The people seem to have some faith in what you say, but this law has irreversibly increased the anti-revolutionary sentiment of old politicians. Fortunately, most of them are banned from activity, so there was no organized resistance. Shocker. Hold on. All Korean media has been required to be censored in advance under martial law, and several newspapers have been forcibly closed. How much freedom of speech will you guarantee after the martial law is lifted? Considering the progress of the revolution, it seems that we will not be able to consider lifting martial law until at least half a year later. Let's discuss those issues then and focus everything on reform now. Of course, current media censorship is only a temporary measure to prevent social chaos. I'll fully guarantee freedom of speech in accordance with democratic principles as soon as martial law is lifted. Just before the revolution, there were more than 1,200 periodicals in Korea. There were so many media outlets that did not contribute at all to the economy and only encouraged disputes among the people. I will ensure maximum freedom of speech, but I intend to legislate some regulations to ensure that the media can provide useful and fair coverage. I want to call what you call freedom of speech an indulgence of speech. From the very moment I end censorship, all the media will somehow be busy finding fault with me. I will allow only those media outlets that pledge to follow a set of reporting guidelines that the government will enact. Wow, that is a whole new level of tyrant. We are not going with that one. We're not going to extend martial law. That would not be popular. Honestly, I think to increase legitimacy, well, this could go reform, but it could also kind of go a bit totalitarian. We might just want to say full guarantee of the freedom of speech. So, yeah, we're just going to go with that. And you think to yourself, then I will strengthen the media control little by little, slowly enough that no one will notice. You can see I'm running as a very non-corrupt politician then. 100% not corrupt. In June of 1962, Korea's economy is suffering from a recession due to high inflation and a drop in foreign aid. There has been a proposal among your ministers to implement monetary reform to overcome this and to finance economic development. Would you like to try it? Alright, I'll reduce the unit of money by 1/10 and immediately ban the trading of old currency. It'll be the perfect reform if we mobilize funds by enacting deposit blockade measures here. No, some monetary reform is likely to cause confusion in financial markets. Instead, I will receive economic aid from the United States and Japan to invest in domestic industries. I agree that monetary reform is necessary, but I want to put the funding in the future and address the immediate inflation problem first. I'll reduce the unit of monetary by 1/10 and follow up measures to track down illegal amassers. Alright. I'll reduce the unit of money by 1/10. Grace period. Okay, we don't want to do anything too radical like these two. But I also don't want to make us completely dependent on the United States and Japan, especially if they reject us. So we're gonna try this to, kind of balance out addressing the inflation while also doing monetary reform. You may actually reduce inflation gradually while maintaining the liquidity of funds. And thanks to this reform, the economy began to improve little by little. Well done. Oh, cool. Did that raise our popularity? Yes, it did. Today, the KCIA announced the shocking findings. According to their announcement, former Democratic Party politicians were caught preparing a counter-revolution to overthrow the military government by launching another coup. And even former Prime Minister Chang Myon was implicated in this incident. What do you think about this? Not shocking at all, man. It's a case I fabricated by ordering KCIA. Huh? Okay. We must investigate this appalling incident very thoroughly. But on the other hand, we must be careful not to let innocent victims come out. In particular, Chang's involvement in the plot seems clearly false. How hypocritical of those who said they support democracy to plan a coup. This case clearly shows that the old politicians of the Democratic Party should never be in power again. Or, I'm very angry at this vicious attempt to throw our country into chaos. Reactionaries who tried to bring down the revolution, including Chang Myun, will be severely punished. So, from what I'm reading, it seems like this is not actually true, and this is just, some lovely propaganda. That or it has innocent people involved in it. So we're gonna investigate this very, very thoroughly, but not let innocent victims come out because, popularity or something. You're showing an uncharacteristically cautious side. In any case, by your instructions, the investigation did not extend to political suppression, and ended at the point where several key leaders were punished. As a result, the case will take a toll on the support of old politicians. Okay, fair enough. Korea has not established diplomatic relations with Japan since its independence due to problems with its colonial past. Okay, yeah, Japan was bored to Korea whenever it was occupying it. So, that's not shocking. To solve this problem, you decided to hold a secret meeting between Korea and Japan in October of 1962, and Kim Jong-pil will be dispatched to Japan to negotiate with Foreign Minister Ohira. What instructions would you give him? Most important thing you should emphasize in negotiations is compensation for colonial rule. Strongly demand that Japan pay us at least $1 billion in cash and reparations. I don't think we're going to get that. We're not going to demand it. One sec. Most important thing you should emphasize in negotiations is a formal apology. Instead of significantly reducing the amount of reparation, urge the Japanese government to apologize for colonial rule. Most important thing you should emphasize is economic cooperation, or make concessions to them to normalize diplomatic relations. We're not going to do that. We're not going to give them concessions for their colonial rule over Korea. And we're not going to demand that they pay us. I kind of feel like Japan's one of the nations that kind of just walks past, or not walks past, that's wrong phrasing, but I don't really think they talk much about, all the atrocities they committed in World War II. I don't think we'd get that apology. So we're just going to say economic development. Alright. After negotiations, Kim Jong-pil signed the Kim Ohira Memo and agreed to receive a total of $300 million from Japan. However, an apology for colonial rule was not included in the agreement, and you decide to keep this memo confidential for the time being, fearing the backlash. That's fair enough, I mean. Alright. December of 1962, martial law was lifted. Constitutional amendment process for the transfer of civil affairs began in earnest. The main purpose of the new constitution is to abolish the parliamentary system and reintroduce a presidential system, which will soon be put into effect through a referendum. However, the president's term of office has not been confirmed yet. I think a 4-year term is appropriate, but I'm concerned that allowing a second term could lead to another dictator like Syngman Rhee. I think a single 4-year term is most suitable. I actually don't have a particular preferred term system. Why don't we let the people decide it themselves? Before we have a referendum on the constitutional amendment, let's have a referendum on the president's term. The 4-year two-term system is adopted in the United States, and as you know, it's a good system that was implemented in Korea in the early days of its founding. I don't think there's a need to change this. Or to be honest, 4 years is too short a time to complete a given task as president. Let's make it a 7-year two-term system. There's a word called Lucky 7 too, right? No. No, we are not going to extend the maximum amount of presidency to 14 years. We could go with the American system. We could go with a single term. Both are actually pretty good. Let's just let the people decide. That might boost our legitimacy. This was considered to respect the will of the people as much as possible and received a lot of support. As a result of the referendum, the 4-year two-term system won a majority, followed by a constitutional referendum, and the new constitution was finalized. Yeah. Thought I mispronounced it, so. Oh well, I'm very good at reading English. Alright. The new year of 1963 has come. The political activities of old politicians have been allowed again for the new year, and everyone is full of hope for a new future. What do you say in your New Year's address to the people? Recently held the first referendum in history, revised constitutional revise the constitution directly with the hands of the people. In the future, Korea will become a proud democracy that has escaped the dark days of Syngman Rhee and Chang Myeon. Or, our groundbreaking and bold foreign policy has been a great success. Relations with Japan are improving, and we have established friendly diplomatic relations with not only the Western Bloc, but also with neutral countries. This is a true diplomatic victory for Korea. Good luck and glory for the future of the country and its people. The country has made remarkable progress. This is all thanks to the will and hard work of the people, and I'm very grateful for your efforts. Or after the revolution, rural not economics. Jeez, I don't know what is going on. Actually, I do. I'm making this video kind of late at night, and I'm getting tired. That's fine. I'm sure, it'll only get worse from here. It's fine. One sec. Yeah, so glad I have a bottle of water. Alright. Let's say, honestly, so foreign policy isn't a big thing. That one is a good sentiment, but it doesn't really boost our popularity, I don't think. But I think that'd be a good speech. I'm gonna try that one. And that one is just meh. So we're gonna do the one I have selected. The presidential election is scheduled for October, and the general election is in November. You can look forward to it. This year will be one of the most interesting years in Korean history. Alright. In February 1963, you officially announced your presidential bid and created the Democratic-Republican Party, or the DRP. Although many were expecting your candidacy, this is a breach of your original promise to return to the military this year, and even some officers are against your candidacy. Why did you decide to run this election? You're free to believe it or not, but I really didn't want to run for president. However, Kim Jong-pil strongly urged me to run, saying that I am the only one who can take charge of this country, so I was forced to run. Isn't that right? That is not how that works. That is a horrid response. Everyone knows that my revolution is not over yet. A democratic and driven figure must be the new president to defend the revolutionary spirit and continue reform even after the military administration is over. Well, I guess I'm the only one suitable for it. That one isn't good. It is a decision to save our country, It's heartbreaking that there are officers who don't know my true feelings, but I would have to appease them somehow to maintain the loyalty of the military. I promise to appoint a soldier to the post of Prime Minister when elected. Hmm. That one I feel like is a bit too self-grandizing. And honestly, I really don't think there's a good solution here. Let's just try and win the military back. A prime minister from the military. Of course, the officers were satisfied, but the opinion among the people that your election is an extension of the military government is gaining traction. That's not shocking, but I really don't want a counter-military coup. Which, considering the fact that we have died before in this one, I wouldn't keep out of the equation. Wait a minute. In March of 1963, you suddenly dropped a bombshell. You declared that you would extend the military government for 4 years by referendum, restrict political party and media activities, and postpone the election. Your attempt to blatantly undermine democracy was met with great opposition across society, and protests centered on politicians such as Yun Po-sun and Ho Chong, and university students to withdraw the declaration. Why on earth did you make such a declaration? Until now I couldn't do it because I was worried about your opposition, but now I'll tell you my true belief. Democracy is only possible in countries with advanced economies, and it is impossible to realize it in underdeveloped countries like Korea. Do you want me to clarify more? Democracy is a luxury. That is not at all what we should tell them. That is not a defense. That just makes it worse. It takes a very long time and effort to transfer the regime from military government to civil administration. Unfortunately, the 7 months left until the presidential election are too short. I want to build a more stable and democratic political system, even if we have to spend a little more time. Good response, but what's this one? Declaration is kind of a suggestion. The extension of the military rule will be decided by a democratic referendum by the people, not by my dogmatic decision. Of course, if it is voted down in the referendum, elections and political activities will go ahead as scheduled. That I think is the best one. This argument is true, but what is important is that your proposal itself seriously violates the principles of democracy. There will be no presidential candidate anywhere in the world who suggests not to have an election. That is fair. My poor support. The protests spread day by day without any sign of stopping, and you hold a meeting with Yun, Po-sun, and Ho Chong to find a way to calm the situation. Yun said this as soon as he met you. Chairman Park, there is only one way to appease the people before it becomes irreversible. Cancel the declaration, hold the election as scheduled, and end the military administration this year. Ho nodded quietly next to him and stared at you. Stop talking nonsense. You, who used me to remove Chang Myan and all the opposition when you were president, shouldn't do this to me. I will never take back what I said. I will confirm the will of the people through a referendum in the near future, so please leave now. Or, I'm sad that no one understands my high aim. So sad. But I will do so if it is of benefit to me, to you, to this country, and to the people alike. I will announce that I will comply with your requirement soon, so please leave now. I think that's the best option. In April of 1963, you bowed to the demands of the protesters, declaring that you would cancel the referendum on extending military rule. I hope this will prevent your approval rating from falling further. Did it? No. No, it did not. Alright, in May of 1963, you were nominated as presidential candidate, as everyone expected. Do you have anything to say while accepting the nomination? I am a staunch defender of democracy who has driven out corrupt politicians through revolution. I have always taken the lead in developing democracy above anyone else, and even after I become president, I will give my everything to democracy in our country. Or, I don't trust old politicians. I'm sure you feel the same way. They were against my revolution after ruining our country, and now they're trying to take power again through the elections. Don't give them an opportunity. If you haven't found a reason to vote for me yet, look back on our history from 2 years ago to now. Corruption has been eradicated, the economy has developed, our country's international status has improved. Please make the man who has achieved all this, the very man who's always on your side, president. Or, I sincerely apologize for the many mistakes. If you vote for me, I will use my past mistakes as a lesson to carry out a successful political reform. Let's see here. Okay. We could make that one. We could try and make the revolution seem more legitimate. Or we could take the attack against the old politicians. That might be a bit too totalitarian. Let's just reemphasize what we succeeded in. It didn't make a big impression on people, since it was a very ordinary speech that emphasized the achievements of the revolution. But there's no harm in taking a safe course. Don't you think so? I do, that's why I picked it. Oh, my throat. Alright. In the Civil Rule Party, funded by Yun Po-sun, there was a struggle for interest for months, and it was not until September 1963 that Yun was nominated as the presidential candidate. At the delegate meeting held on this day, there was a scuffle after the conflict, and some politicians independently funded the People's Party to run Ho Chong as a candidate. What do you think of this series of events? You know, I'm so ecstatic. Now that the opposition has been divided like this, my chances of winning have probably increased tremendously. Personally, I'd like to bow to those who brought me victory on their own, even before the election campaign begins. We are far from actually winning the election. You know, I'm so ecstatic now that the opposition has been divided like this. Oh wait, whoops. Yun, Po-sun, Ho Chong, and other ragtag politicians. The nature of those who are busy taking care of their own interests, leaving the people behind, has finally been revealed. Now, I'm sure you've all noticed, I, Park Chung-hee, am the only candidate who truly put the interests of the people before himself. Or, I strongly support Ho Chong's candidacy. He is a victim abandoned by the CRP due to Yun Po-sun's ambition to be nominated somehow. I would suggest Ho hold a joint election campaign to attack Yun. That is a kind of anti-Yun alliance. That's a horrid idea. He's running for the People's Party, which I'm fairly certain might be communist, so we're not going to back that. However, that is going to help, so we're going to emphasize the divide. People are strongly sympathetic to your comprehensive attack. In addition, Song Yo-chan of the Liberal Democratic Party is also encroaching on Yun's supporters. If this continues, it looks like you will definitely win the presidential election. Oh wow, yeah, that really rocketed up support. Okay. Hmm. Registration of candidates closed. Campaign period has finally begun. Where'd I like to go? We can go to Changjiang. We can go to South Jeolla. We can go to North Gyeongsang. Or South Gyeongsang. So that is south. This is north. Okay, that's weird. South Chungcheong. I think I pronounced that. I probably didn't pronounce that right. I think north would be better. Especially since it said, I think it has the most people. So, yeah, we're going to win a great victory there. You visited Gummy's birthplace and gave a touching speech reminiscing about your life so far, which was reported in major media the next day and received a lot of sympathy from people. Meanwhile, Yan Posan strongly criticized you in Mokpo, South Jeolla, with an audience of 10,000 people attending. Okay. That doesn't seem to have really worked all that well. Actually, it might have. In this election, both you and Young Posan are considered conservatives. But since none of the major candidates are progressive voters seem to support you, who is at least more informative than Yun, as the next best option. Would you be willing to move to a more progressive position to gain additional support from them? Progressive voters, since when did a communist get such a plausible name? Can't stand the fact that disgusting communists are supporting me. Okay, that is not what we want to do to win over those voters. No, I've always been a staunch conservative. I will never do anything dishonest to deceive my ideology to get a few more votes. Even if I don't change my political stance, when election day comes, progressives will eventually vote for me, so there will be no problem in the end. Everyone knows I'm conservative, and it's only going to be counterproductive to suddenly open up a progressive option. I think defining myself as a moderate and reasonable conservative candidate and Yun as a reactionary far-right candidate is the appropriate way to satisfy as many voters as possible. Or we can open up as a progressive. Honestly, I think that might be the best. We don't want to switch platforms. Fortunately, this attempt worked well, and you somewhat satisfied the progressives while not alienating conservatives. This will be especially helpful in Gyeongsang, which has a progressive tendency. Jeez, why can't I not talk all of a sudden? Wait a minute. Okay. Why are there so many Norths and Souths in South Korea? Okay, Ri Huasang, the head of the North Gyeongsang branch of the DRP, offered you a support campaign. He said that using the fact that you were from North Gyeongsang, he can definitely increase your support. Ri promised that he would take care of everything with his fancy speech if you leave it to him. Will you accept his proposal? Um, uh, hmm. Wait a minute. Okay, let me see. We could say regionalism won't work. Uh, alright, we don't want to say that one because we want him to give the speech. So, it seems like we're apparently lacking in support in Busan. So we're gonna do that. Yeah. Reed did his best, but his speech using regionalism did not receive much response because there were many migrants from other regions in Busan. Okay. He was heartbroken, but after a while, having received a newspaper handed over by his aide, he hurried back to you with a pale face. It seems like something really bad is going to happen. Okay. At a press conference held at 10 a.m. this morning, Yun Po-sun claimed that Park Chung-hee was involved in the 1948 Communist Yosu Sung-cheon rebellion. In addition, Yun revealed that Park had stated in his previous book that Western democracy is not suitable for Korea, and publicly declared in front of reporters that Park is a communist who does not believe in democracy. Okay. We have to stay calm. It seems that Yun has no concrete evidence that I participated in the rebellion yet. Let's hurry up and start a counterattack. Propagate him as a very vicious candidate who baselessly denounces his opponent as communist. Oh shit. Oh yes, that's a great option. Definitely, definitely emphasizing that we are guilty as charged, which is always a great thing to deal with. Damn it, yes, I once foolishly joined the rebellion, but 15 years have passed since then. 15 years. Isn't it time to forget? Since the revolution, I have consistently emphasized anti-communism and worked for Korea. No one will believe I'm a communist. I will completely ignore this attack to show the public that this is an allegation not even worth refuting. Honestly, that might be the best option. I don't think he has support. I mean, I don't think he has evidence. And, starting a counterattack will probably show that we're a bit more guilty than we look. Despite your disregard, the argument made by Yun was already too widespread. To make matters worse, he gave no explanation. Public doubts grew even more. Well, that isn't good. The Supreme Council for National Reconstruction has been urgently convened to respond to Yun Po-sun's attack, which could make all the election campaigns go to waste. In the meeting, there were claims that Yun should be accused of spreading false information, and even that Yun should be immediately arrested to prevent further damage. What's your position? What? Accusation? Arrest? What nonsense have I just heard? I called a meeting to solve the problem, but now you're making my head ache even more. I'll go home and get some rest. What I need now is a break. Extraordinary means must be used for extraordinary things. Arrest Yun. Extraordinary means must be used for extraordinary things. Accuse Yun of spreading false information and slandering me. Or extraordinary means must be used for extraordinary things. Arrest his aides. Yes, that's smart. Get all of the negative side effects. Don't arrest Yun and don't arrest but also get all the negative publicity that comes with arresting political opponents. Genius, honestly. For some reason that I feel like that's gonna get me killed. I don't know why, but go back home and get some rest make me feel like I'm gonna get assassinated or something. So yeah. I think the best thing to do here might just be to accuse him of spreading false information and slander. Kim Young Sam, the spokesman of the CRP, immediately criticized that they would never give in to your ridiculous threat. Still, thanks to this strong measure, there are some people who believe in your innocence. Okay, that works. Maybe. Not really. This time, Ho Chong joined in raising suspicions about your ideology. According to his claim, your brother, Park Sang-hee, was close to the communist Hwang Tae-sung and was executed in 1946 while leading a communist uprising with him in Daegu. Did you know about this and about Hwang Tae-sung? Everything is true. My brother was a communist and he was executed for rioting. But what you have to keep in mind is that I'm never a communist. Home must immediately stop these attempts to pass on my brother's fault to me. I just heard the name Hwang Tae-sung for the first time. I don't know anything about who he was or how he was related to my brother. Don't be fooled by those unverified rumors. Bring in Kim Hwang-uk, who was recently appointed as the new head of the KCA. CIA. I think it'd be better to have Kim clarify instead of me. I only knew Huang as a friend of my brother's, but I only found out later that he was a communist. He infiltrated Seoul as a spy in September 1961 and tried to meet me, but was immediately arrested and is currently sentenced to death in a military trial and awaiting execution. Honestly, I think that might be the best one. Because that shows that we didn't know it. That shows that we're being very anti-communist. I think that's actually the best. You tried to resolve the controversy with a clear explanation, but it turned out to backfire. Based on your remarks, Yun Po-sung claimed that you and Huang had an intimate relationship and poured out all kinds of rumors that have not been confirmed. How, how does executing someone imply an intimate relationship? I'm so confused. Something unexpected happened. This afternoon, Ho Chong announced that he is withdrawing from the candidacy to prevent your victory. He appealed that the military administration could be ended only when all opposition parties united under Yun Po-sung, and Song Yo-chan also resigned as a candidate in response. What do you think of their resignation? I also have to unify with other candidates before it's too late. Ask Jae Young, who has the highest support among the minor candidates, to resign. In return, I will offer to give him everything he wants, such as a public office or funds. I can't help it. I'm going to double everything, election expenses, local campaigns, and advertising. From now on, we should all do our best, thinking that we are fighting a war, not an election. Maybe it's not all that bad. Regardless of the resignation, the names of the two candidates remain on the ballots, so some voters who don't know they resigned might vote for them. I mean, it would have been better if they hadn't resigned in the first place, but it's still not the worst. Alright. Okay. Honestly, that 4.3 could win us currently. So we're going to try and get O.J. Young to resign. O is a politician who has a confrontation with Young Po-sung, but hates you even more than that. Oh, not only ignored your offer, but also publicly exposed your urgent request, causing you a great disgrace. Probably should have known asking a candidate to drop out was going to shoot me in the foot. Okay, yeah, this is rough. You've been only having bad incidents lately, but this time I have to give you especially bad news. Young Po-sung released data that you joined the Workers' Party of South Korea in 1948 and were sentenced to life imprisonment while serving as a military chief. Good grief, were you really a communist? Or maybe, are you still a communist? That's right, I've always been a communist. Communism now, communism tomorrow, communism forever. Genius. Everything is a lie. I've never joined the party. I've never been tried, and Yun is attacking me using fabricated data to defeat me. People, I am innocent. Don't believe Yun's wicked tricks. You know what? Yun has not said a single word about policy in the past 2 weeks and has made only McCarthyistic claims that falsely attack my ideology. I want to say this to Yun Po-sung, a far-right McCarthyist. Stop the witch hunt now. That isn't going to get him to stop. It is true that I have served as a member of the party. However, I have since abandoned communism completely and have played a decisive role in subjugating domestic communists by providing the military with a list of the party officials. I am sincerely reflecting on my past faults. Okay, so it does seem like these are true accusations. We don't want to say we're communists. We don't want to tell him to call off the witch hunt because he won't. And we're not going to try and claim innocence any longer. We're just going to focus on the fact that we aren't communists anymore. Oh, after you acknowledged the allegations that you were a communist, the lame excuses that followed were useless. Yun has stopped all attacks since this day. The election result became clear. That is... oh, no. Okay. Your advisor showed you that the debate had a decisive impact on the last United States presidential election. Currently, television's reach is very low in Korea, but radio has become relatively common, so radio debate is possible enough. Would you like to have a radio debate with him? Yon has already cornered me to this extent with his outstanding speech. Frankly, I'm not sure I'm going to win a debate with him. Instead, I will produce a newspaper advertisement that attacks Yun's McCarthyism. That's a good idea. Let's hold a debate. I will call Yun directly and ask him to attend the debate. That's a good idea. Let's hold a debate. If I directly offer, I will surely be rejected, so I will ask him to attend the debate in the name of the station that I will be hosting. Or, let's see if we can win the debate. Yun accepted the proposal and attended the debate, and the result was catastrophic for you. Yun led the debate by pushing you all the time, and eventually you had to leave the debate blush. Well, that was our last shot at victory. I don't think we couldn't have come back from that to begin with, but yeah, now it's really just over. On October 10th, just 5 days before the election, former lawmaker Kim Sa-man said this while giving a speech in support of Yun Posan. Busan and Daegu are cities where there are a lot of commies. They will probably shout hurrah when they see Kim Il-sung. This absurd remark quickly angered people and even led to an attack in the CRP headquarters. What do you think of Kim's remarks? There's a Korean proverb that says, "Someone digs his own grave with his hands." Let's just enjoy watching this pathetic CRP bring itself down. I'm sure you've realized it now. They are now trying to denounce not only me, but also all those who oppose Yun as communists. It goes without saying whether wholesome anti-communism or McCarthyism is right. And it's also clear who the only reactionary candidate to follow McCarthyism in this election. Or, as a native, I sincerely sympathize with the anger, felt horrified. Okay. I'm gonna say, yeah, that the KCIA, which has been steadily investigating public opinion trends, report that your support has begun to rise sharply since Kim's remarks. Some people are cautiously predicting your victory, which seems completely impossible. Might be possible. It really is impossible. This disgraceful election filled with no policy discussion but mutual slander and attacks is nearing completion at last. Yun Posan is trying to deceive the people. I'll tell you the truth. I support common sense anti-communism. One normal society that is not dominated by McCarthyism. And one more thing, Yun does not. Let's wipe out the believers in Korean McCarthyism from our society together. We can talk about how they've been targeting me with the evil conspiracy, which I just outright came out and said was true, which was really stupid on my part. But I figured it was gonna get figured out sooner or later anyway. But I don't know. These things tend to get shrugged off in political elections. I don't really know why I forgot that, but oh well. Let's just emphasize how we revolutionized the country and everything the old politicians did. It is a very wise choice to emphasize your revolution just before the election. Which will people choose, revolution or civilian rule? Unfortunately, I received a report that my support in Gangwon seems to have fallen a lot due to Yun's McCarthyism. I will go to Gangwon and appeal my innocence. I have to go to a region where I can effectively attack Yun's McCarthyism. I'll give a speech in Daegu, and then go to Busan in the afternoon to criticize his absurd remarks. I know I have no hope of winning in Seoul, but I think it would be better to visit at least once, as it is the capital of our country. Let's go to Seoul. Or I will go to North Jeolla, which is currently the most competitive region. Let's go also visit a few more rural villages in South Jeolla to attract as many votes as possible from farmers. Let's go to Daegu, since he criticized that place. Busan was originally a region with very high support for Yun, but now your chances of winning are increasing. I hope you win in Busan, also win the entire election. I'll keep my fingers crossed for you, Chairman Park. I'm gonna assume there's no way we won that. So far, it seems we've got 59.9%, but that's only because we have an island that was actively supporting us. I actually want to see this unfold in real time. And also, O.J. Young got votes. Okay. Alright, so it's going kind of back and forth. Not. No. Okay, we're getting to the north and we're losing all our support. Yeah, it's over. Hmm. Yeah, and maybe the whole communism charge really shot myself in the foot. Yeah, I really need to address it earlier. I'll be honest, I really don't know what a good defense against that would be. But, oh well. Alright, so we got 36.4%. Yon Posun got 57%. Yeah, we did a lot worse than historical. So, the country of the rising Yun. You're defeated by a very large margin. What made this happen? Failure to reform and antipathy to authoritarianism. Yan Posun's fierce attack, whatever the reason, the people abandoned you, and criticism of your revolution, which has been suppressed until now, began to increase. Yan has already promised to set up a reinvestigation committee as soon as he takes office in response to the public demand for a fact-finding mission into your revolution. Moreover, he used the word coup instead of revolution in his speech, which was like a statement that meant that your time is completely over. From now on, you have to work hard to find a good lawyer, because if you don't, you might really end up in jail. So, yeah, historically, it's saying that he got like 45.1%, I want to say. And we got 37.8. So we did like a very, very large amount worse than historical, which is unfortunate. So I might need to end up retrying that. That is kind of something I want to do after I run through most of the elections. Is I want to go back to the ones I've lost and rerun them to see if I can win. Like knowing what I do, but yeah. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Uh, if you didn't, comment down below what I can do better. Just realized how horrid my pronunciation is on the outro. I've really got to work on that. Anyways, I will see you in the next video, and have a good day.